This is a book review of The Golden Age Submariner Pre-War Years by Bill Everett. Now, this is all Bill Everett's work all the way through this. This is from Timely's Greatest, obviously Marvel Comics. Now, this book came out in 2019 and it's about 860 odd pages. So it's a fairly thick, chunky book. You'll notice it's not in the standard omnibus style that you get. You normally get all the covers on the back. Sadly, they've just gone for a perfectly reasonable picture, but it would have been nice if all the covers had been on the back, but they're not. So what does it include? Well, it includes a variety of books, and there's some there. Stories from Marvel Comics #1, of course, the key one there. Marvel Mystery Comics 2 to 31, Human Torch 2 to 6, Submariner 1 to 4, All Winners Comics 1 to 4, and also there's also Finn stories as well been included. Finn was another character that Bill Everett created, very similar to Submariner, underwater character, and thoroughly enjoyable. So I'm just going to quickly run through this book. Now, first thing you should note, it's a very high quality, really brilliant quality book. So there's all the credits of all the people involved, lots and lots of people there. And you've got the listing of all the credits there, obviously Bill Everett, of course other people were involved as well, Carl Burgos, John H. Compton, and many others, Stan Lee, etc. Then you've got a long list of the contents. So you've got a variety of contents there. I think there's contents also on the other page. There's a lot of stories in this. They're all fairly short stories. You can see like issue that one, Marvel Comics #1, obviously starts at page 14, and then the next one is on page 27. So it's very short stories. So you've got those, and then you've got a brilliant introduction by Roy Thomas. I love Roy Thomas's introductions, always very good. That's 4 pages. And then on to this first, obviously, Marvel Comics cover. And I love that cover, absolutely superb cover. And of course, that wasn't Bill Everett, but it's introduced, of course, the Timely Comics and the Marvel stories there, and the Human Torch, the Angel, Submariner, and Masked Raider. Also, Kazar's in it as well, and a few others. But those are not included in this. It's just all the Submariner Bill Everett work as well as the Finn. If you want to see the other ones, you have to go and check the it's a Marvel Comics Omnibus one that includes all of those, Marvel Mystery Comics one. So look at that superb artwork, the initial thing. Bill Everett. Must admit, when you look at his Bill Everett signed right there at the top, really can't hardly make it out. I expect lots of people were really sort of confused who he was, but I mean, still, the restoration of this is absolutely superb. Just the sheer quality from the first page. I think this is the best I've ever seen the Timely Comics, Marvel Comics #1. Like this. I must admit, I love the way that Namor keeps changing. Look at here, he's actually got golden hair. He's also green in this bit. He does actually quite a few times. You got here, you go through it. He's got very blue there, obviously under the water. And then other times, I love the use of the shadow as well. I think the shadow did absolutely gorgeous artwork. Also, I love the writing as well. The writing is very, very different from modern style of writing. Also, it's great to see the Submariner there. See, there he's got clothes on. Something you just generally don't see. Obviously, he has his trunks, but that's about it most of the time. Now, this has got lots and lots of different stories, but the stories actually do have a feeling of a bit of a flow through them. It's not like they're just random stories. There's a sort of a development of the character. And again, you've got Bill Everett. Look at that. Just that beautiful there. Bill Everett. You've actually got like a 3D writing. Sort of stands out there. Now, the covers quite often, these Marvel Comics ones, obviously there, you can see Marvel. You've got Angel. And now, obviously, he was, for some weird reason, they really thought that Angel was one of the great characters, one of the most popular characters. I'm not really certain about that personally, but obviously, because Angel was sort of like came over from the pulp period as well. So, actually, for some weird reason, Kazar never turned up on the front cover, which is odd because he did have his pulp as well, pulp origins. Look at that as well. Look at that start, Submariner. That's, I think, is really great as well. Also, you've got that lovely writing on there, sort of giving a bit of the description to the story. The artwork and restoration throughout this is just superb. Like I say, it's another thing. Game is in obviously costume instead of just, well, he's got a cape there. I mean, a cape, not the sort of thing you'd really want if you're going underwater, I would have thought. Sort of a bit of a drag, I would have thought there, but obviously that's not an issue for someone. There's flying there. Again, absolutely superb. He's got a decent cast as well. You've got obviously the king or emperor there, or highness as he's called. So you've got, again, that great logo right across. Prince Namor, The Submariner by Bill Everett. At least you can make his signature out there, Bill Everett's. And you've got, again, what a lovely, gorgeous cover, obviously with this time with a Human Torch on the cover. And I always love these ones. Attention, do you want a surprise? Read the Human Torch now! Of course, they had the classic battle between the Human Torch and the Submariner. I love it when, obviously I've got picked a page where it's not, so let's go for this one. There's going to be one there. It's the battle between, obviously, the famous battle between Human Torch and Submariner. That went on for quite a few issues and actually reappeared occasionally. There was a couple of other appearances as well. And of course, eventually, they formed the All-Winner Squad, and then, of course, the Invaders, obviously a little bit later, and a bit of a reimagination of the period. Also, I love these bits where they had these little, here it is, kids. They always had these sort of sections where they give a little bit of brief rundown about Submariner and Human Torch, a little bit, obviously, the meeting of these two super characters in last month's issue of Marvel Comics. And I always love the way they always say Marvel Comics. They never, ever, very rarely in the adverts, ever said Marvel Mystery Comics. So it's as if themselves, they did not think of this magazine as, because I always thought when they had this little banner there, that really it was Marvel Comics. It wasn't Marvel Mystery Comics at all. They just happened to put mystery on there, just as a sort of advertising banner. Because they just literally, all the adverts always say Marvel Comics. Of course, quite often he's battling. Sometimes he is, sometimes he isn't. Submariner was sort of very backwards and forwards, whether he was sort of battling humanity. Sometimes he was helping humanity. He was helping certain individuals. And, he's often, and it, like I say, it does flow through the story. It's not like, it looks like it's all separate stories, but there is actually, from next page, next book, there's a continuation. Not always. Sometimes the story would randomly jump. But eventually it did go back to that sort of main storyline as well. And you got here the just beautiful artwork. I mean, look at that. The Submariner, you've got obviously the Nazis at this point. Now, I don't know what year this was. Unfortunately, it's one thing that they don't have. Obviously, you got here February. Now, it doesn't unfortunately say February 1941, 1942. No idea. But obviously, I could just go and look at the front. But it would be nice if it was included as well. And then you've got the Submariner, Human Torch again. So there's quite a few of these crossovers. Now, you didn't have many times, there was never Submariner versus Captain America for some weird reason. I don't know why they never did that, or Submariner versus the Angel. Probably make short work of him. You've got lots and lots, obviously, because of the wars, obviously, you've got lots of shipping there and all the, obviously, ships and, and submarines there. Absolutely just beautiful. Now, when they're doing it, he was doing the underwater scenes. That changed quite a bit certainly from the first issue, but it's still quite effective. And you really got, I love that line work, the way it just makes it look like it's underwater. And you've got all the Nazis there, of course. And this just all, you even got a lovely story. I love this, all these text stories. They often included these, I assume, because of postal reasons. I'm not certain because, of course, I'm in the UK, so I've no idea about that, but apparently that was the reason. Also, just the artwork was superb all the way through. I think Bill Everett's artwork just got better and better and better all the way through this. Really, really sharp. The colours in this really jump off the page. It's just beautiful all the way through. I love this. Look at this. You've got this multicoloured thing, not just sort of standard grey sort of buildings. You've got here, just there you can just see blue, you've got yellow, you've got, wow, just throw a lot, and obviously goes in. Sometimes he's just battling very average sort of people who obviously pushes through, and he has a bit of a punch up with people. Obviously, I haven't got, because sometimes he's super strong, sometimes his strength sort of varies. Sometimes he can lift a tank, and then he seems to struggle with a few people. So it's always a bit up and down, particularly with the. But I just think this book is just one of the best omnibuses. I just absolutely think it's glorious work. Now, there's also a Human Torch set. Human Torch one, there was one of those, and Captain America as well. So, unfortunately, I haven't got those ones. Wish I should have done, but I haven't. Story behind the cover. I love these ones. Namor blitzes a Nazi sub. So you've got these lovely stories there. And again, just so beautiful, these covers. 40 thrilling pages of Human Torch and Toro. Just glorious. And this was obviously summer number, as it says there. Summer number. No worry about it. Well, actually saying that, In the UK, we always had those summer specials as well. So we would have you'd have the weekly issues and then summer specials. Oh, I love these ones as well. And also, you've got these black and white ads as well in here. Obviously, they were in the inner pages. And you had obviously Submariner there, #2. So obviously, he's got his own issue of this magazine now. And you got here Marvel lineup. Again, showing, it doesn't say Marvel mystery lineup or anything. Marvel lineup. On sale now at your favourite newsstand. And you got, actually saying that, it doesn't, oh yeah. 8 of the most famous characters in the world in one magazine. Marvel Comics. I know I'm pushing that point. But lots of people always put Marvel Mystery Comics. And I'm always quite certain it was Marvel Comics. That's just my point of view. Probably everyone will disagree totally with me on that one. But look at that, just beautiful. Going actually saying that, the artwork changed slightly. There was a very thinness of line. Now, I suppose, I don't know, maybe depending on different ink. And unfortunately, it just says Bill Everett. Now, I'm not certain who inked some of these because you can certainly see when you look at this, the line work is very, very thin in comparison with other ones. So maybe it was different, obviously, sources, I don't know. Because then you go to some of these other ones where you've got the torches back again there. And now this is obviously going up to about issue 27. And you got, again, the story was still going through. And now you don't see so many of them actually, probably do later, whereas in costume. Again, you still got stories, the general stories, sort of things that were quite often in Golden Age. There was not that sort of, there was no Doctor Doom, there was no Magnetos, there was no sort of really super powerful mutant menaces or Galactus or anything. It was all sort of like people at docks or something, or a gang that would be, were doing some, drug dealing or, I don't know, drink or something, get through the customs or whatever. And you'd have all the Nazis, of course, fifth columnists were blowing something up or whatever. You got this one here where he's out in a sort of like a ghost ship sort of thing. That's just absolutely glorious. And quite often you have these ones as well. You've got mad scientists. I love the mad scientist stories. Or completely on this one. Obviously, this one's got a very huge horror, as it says here. Obviously, a sort of Frankenstein character. And all the way through. And then, of course, what I've said about, obviously, you got that, this old Submariner with his game with a cape. Very lovely. Never, I don't think you ever see him like that now. So you've got Hey Gang, and it's got the fin. So you've got about 3 stories with the fin. And actually, these were pretty good as well. And also, this book was Daring Comics. So you've got here all the other characters. So you've got Thunderer, Blue Diamond, Challenger, Mr. Million, Silver Scorpion, Captain Daring, and obviously the fin, obviously. Drawn by the artist who given you sensational bestseller Marvel Comics. Again, Marvel Comics. Just absolutely glorious. Now, he's not like an underwater character in the sense, but he's got this ability to be underwater. So that is that. I think this is an absolutely superb book. It's Omnibus. Absolutely brilliant. And before I finish, I'm just going to quickly show you the next one because I'm not going to do the review. I've actually done a review of this already, but this one I think is also equally superb. And this contains also many other stories, Submariner and Namora stories. I assume that's how it's said. I might be saying that completely wrong. But likewise, I think the artwork in this is absolutely glorious. I would love to see Marvel bring out an omnibus collection of Bill Everett's works. I mean, there's so many things like Venus. Still haven't finished it. We haven't got a Venus Marvel Masterworks 2. I would love to see that. So that's something that would be great. But also just an omnibus collection of all of his brilliant horror stories, mystery stories, and all those sort of things. He produced lots and lots of superb artwork. That would be superb. But this is really worth checking out as well. This is like a volume 2. But this is the post-year. Obviously, this is the get it right way around, pre-one. So, Submariner by Bill Everett, the Golden Age, pre-war years. Absolutely brilliant.